this is Aromie here. Welcome back to our Life Baxter DLC. We're now continuing on our hike after, fucking Baxter rested his head on our shoulder all cutely and shit. Both of you and Baxter are fully recharged from the lunch break. You continue the hike steadily, keeping a good pace. Without warning, Baxter rooted himself in the middle of the path. Oh, look at that! Yes? He's so cute, dude. He jerked his head and he followed his gaze. Further out on his side of the trail was the stream, flowing swiftly. But you immediately knew what part of the scene that caught his attention. Laying across the banks, the tree had fallen to create a natural bridge. You stepped around him to get a better vantage point. The trunk had to be 3 feet thick and covered in vibrant green moss. Leaves had long fallen from the few remaining branches. Baxter's bright eyes stayed on it, and he grinned all the while.
Exciting.
1 minute, please. I need to walk across that. It's too perfect to simply pass on by. It took a large step and probably left the path. A twig snapped. You followed after him. Walking up the path made you infinitely glad that you were wearing flip-flops today. There was a brush blocking the way everywhere. You chose to mimic most of Baxter's movements. Despite his excitement, he still paid attention to where he put his feet. You dodged what could have been poison ivy and then had to limbo under a low-hanging branch between a couple of saplings. Baxter snagged his shirt on thorn. Hold on. You carefully unhooked the fabric and saved it from tearing. Baxter craned his neck to inspect the shirt, visibly relieved it was undamaged.
Glad to hear it.
I'm glad you decided to come with me on this fortuitous adventure. Finally, he skipped over some stones and then squeezed himself between a group of thick bushes. His efforts were surprisingly graceful. You clambered on the rocks behind him and took a moment to assess the bushes yourself. Going all the way around would be a hassle. With your size, you could maybe duck under one on the edge. What? It looked a little less scratchy. Gingerly, you approached a bush and crouched down, slipping through a few pricks, catching you. Now through the gauntlet, catching. Oh, I thought this thing was close by. Why are we going through hoops just to go cross it? I thought it was literally right there, and you just walk back and forth on it. This close to the stream bank, it was mostly more stones and short grasses. Baxter solidly placed a foot on the trunk, suspended over it. He tested his weight, then rocked his heel to shake the bridge. The tree gave no sign of giving it under pressure. No matter what he did, it wasn't budging.
Excellent.
His safety check complete, he gingerly lifted his other foot and stood fully on the collapsed trunk. Even if it was stuck, the wood had to be slick. Wet and round were an ideal combination. Your forehead crinkled. Baxter showed no concern for that and walked further along an inch at a time until he was above the water. One wrong move and he'd be in that river. Carefully, bro. First, you sat down, then pulled up your feet. The damp bark was unpleasant, especially on your knees as you first crouched. However, when you stood up, the tree stayed firm. You breathed a sigh of relief. He went across the stream with his arms out in light steps, heel, toe, heel, toe. It was almost like he was floating on air, his movements smooth and assured. You were unsteady? No, you weren't having any trouble. Unsteady your feet, but managing to remain upright, Let's be realistic here. I wouldn't be perfect at it. Your stomach jerked as your unsteady stance starting to hold you fully accountable to gravity. You snapped out your arms wide and flailing as you finished another step. It was not as easy as Baxter made it appear. Creeping along, you couldn't tell whether to look down or forward. Wasn't looking ahead better for keeping your balance, but the log beneath you was uneven. When you stepped on a particularly lush patch of moss, it squished under your feet. Sidestepping like a crab helped, but you still weren't safe. You switched back to copying Baxter and gritting your teeth through your tilting. You made it to the center of the tree, right over the heart of the stream. Unfortunately, this was where the wood was at its slickest. Did I fall, bro? You shrieked as you barreled over. There was nothing to grab and your shoes were losing traction on the moist tree. Baxter twisted on his heel at your panic. He saw you tipping to the side. He caught the alarm on his face. You caught the alarm on his face before your attention was shot to the water below you. His hands were on your shoulders in an instant. Baxter gritted his teeth and his hands shook even as his stance was stable. You were both at risk of going over the edge. You hurried to... let's hurry and steady ourselves? Before the hike turned into a swim, you repositioned yourself, this time avoiding danger zone. You let out a shaky sigh then when you regained your balance. Baxter remained uneasy from your near fall and properly offered a hand for you to take. Haha! What I wanted all along. And squeeze it tight. I could kiss him on the lips. Just randomly. Heyo. You lean closer to him, careful of both of your positions on the tree bridge. It wouldn't do to smooch your boyfriend off a tree. Aw, he tilted his face towards you, giving you perfect access to your target. You kissed him on the lips, much to his delight. He kissed you back sweetly before pulling away with a smile. You know, just to confirm that we're dating, you know? Just to remember that we're dating, you know, kiss. I am quite grateful for my impeccable balance in cases like this. How often could Baxter actually get into situations like this? Were tree bridges really that common? Did he often climb onto things without thinking it through? The thought brought to mind a cat, casually wandering into hazardous places just because it could. Suddenly there was a splash in the stream below. A ripple spread across the water, but the cause of it remained a mystery. There was nothing to be seen. Baxter restored his attention to the log. He tapped on the trunk, kicking off a loose remnant of bark. We don't actually need to go all the way across. Nothing particularly enthralling is over there. I've enjoyed our little tryst very much, but I believe this is a curtain call. Alright. You were grateful you wouldn't have to go any further. You led the charge off of the tree, as best as you could anyway. Baxter's hands were warm in yours. You both kept each other grounded until you actually reached the ground. As the Joker pretended to kiss the ground, thinking the sweet fall, that wasn't so bad. That was magical. You know, that was magical. It truly was fantastical. Remember how at lunch I mentioned that this all reminded me of a dream? Up above the rushing water, standing in a sunbeam. Deep in the woods, I cannot imagine a more picturesque scene. To the trail. You nodded and started squeezing your way past the vegetation in your way. Baxter followed you for a change. Finally, the path was under your feet. It sure was faster than trekking directly through the overgrowth. On we go. He's so cute. I can't imagine him being so, like, into nature like this. As your hike resumed, Baxter's jaunty attitude stood out. This entire trip he had seemed different, more lighthearted. Usually when he was in a playful mood, it was more teasing. He was still very controlled. But out here, no, it wasn't the same. He's so childlike, bro. He's so free. Maybe because he was in the middle of nowhere, he felt extra free. Or maybe it was because he'd already broken character with his unintentional stolen shirt. And this was the strangest possibility to consider, maybe it was entirely normal for him to act like this and you didn't know. Gradually it grew darker and darker. Less light made it through the canopy of leaves above you. The sun slipped behind the surrounding mountains. It was well into the evening when you caught sight of the hotel. We've arrived.
To be honest.
Honestly, I am having many regrets. His tone was light and jokey, but there was something boldly truthful to his words. I should have reserved the rooms for much longer. Everything is ending much too soon for my taste. He rubbed a hand through his hair, exhaustedly sweeping it back into place. However, at this point, there was no helping it. You hummed because what else was there to say? You returned to the warm lights of the lobby, the plush red carpet squished in a strange... Oh my god, I didn't call Liz. Squished in a strangely decadent way compared to how gross you felt from chopping around the woods all day. Baxter halted you mid-stride with a question. What are your plans now? You hadn't thought that far, but Baxter didn't pause long enough for you to answer. If you were willing, we could eat dinner together. For example, I have heard the room service here is divine. We could also go somewhere else, but I'd require a few minutes to change. I don't mind hiding away from the public with you. That sounds kinda cute. You discovered my evil plan. He sighed dramatically as he chuckled at his fake shame. I should have expected you'd figure me out. My true desire is returning to the room and relaxing rather than cleaning up at this hour of the night. No worries, I'm not judging.
That's wonderful.
I appreciate it. Now once we order food, then tonight will be perfect. Perhaps I'll have a salad. I swear it's not because we have been surrounded by leaves all day. Your stomach gurgled at the mention of food. The new plan was just in time, and you headed straight up to Baxter's room. He led the way to his suit. Sweet like the hotel was the back of his hand, though it was a simple layout. But under his confident guidance, you reached your destination and he dropped your bags on the floor, the carpet muffled with a thump. Baxter spread his now free arms widely to welcome you in. Please take a seat wherever you like. Baxter moved towards the nightstand and scrounged up a pamphlet on hotel services. He sat down at the side table. Baxter flipped through the booklet until he spied the menu. Found it. He joined you around the table and placed the menu down so you both could read it. At a glance, most of the options were classic comfort foods and matched the cabin in the woods aesthetic that the hotel was going for. However, it also had a sprinkling of more high-end options to cater to a certain set of its clientele. It couldn't be understated how weird the concept of getting lobster in a hotel was. All entrees came with seasonal veggies and a homemade roll. In addition, you could also pick a side of mashed potatoes, fries, French onion soup, or a salad. Baxter was hemming and hawing as he did when spoiled for choice. You could only hope it wouldn't be as much of a struggle for him as choosing which ice cream to get. You considered the options for yourself and decided on... Oh my god, oyster! I love oysters! But I don't want to just eat oysters. Steak, bro. Wait, can I only have one thing? Alright, if we can only have one thing, I'll go for steak. As for the side, you picked your favorite of the list. Mashed potatoes. There's nothing standing out on the menu for me, but it makes it easy. I'll get the risotto and side salad. It was getting that bowl of leaves after all. Baxter confirmed your order again, as well as repeating his own before swanning over to the room phone. He dialed room service and placed the order promptly.
Goodbye.
He hung up the call and sat down in the corner of the bed. He tapped his fingers on his leg. All that was left was to wait. Decided to spend the time cooling down from the hike and cleaned up a bit. Baxter cranked up the AC and washed his face with a damp towel. You collected a bucket of ice from the hallway ice machine and treated yourself to some crisp water. About 30 minutes after the order was put in, a knock rattled the door. Baxter volunteered to get it. He opened the door and let in a waiting staff member. The employee rolled in a cart carrying literal silver platters. They set out the food on the table for you. Please enjoy your dinner. Let us know if you need anything else. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Privately, you were impressed by the fanciness of the presentation. The staff member made their farewells, leaving you to your meal. You reconvened around the table once more.
Well.
This food comes from the restaurants in the hotel. It's not a small operation preparing it. Oh. Chatting and chewing happens in turns. The topic inevitably came to your preferences for food. Everyone always talks about fries and ice cream going together well, but honestly, they're missing out on the obvious. Fries and whipped cream are even better. It's still the sweet and salty combination, but you don't have to deal with cold fries. You know, I never thought about that. I never thought about that. That wasn't even the first strange food he brought up to the conversation. He started off with something innocuous, and then slipped in an oddity to watch your reaction. How many were real and how much fell into the realm of 60% unique plants, an example? Complete and utter nonsense. Have you thought of trying fries with pies? You don't think I'm being serious? No, you didn't think he was serious. It takes a lot more to find a good flavor combinations than rhyming. If it worked like that, then nothing would ever go well with oranges. Sure, Baxter. After many food admissions that made Baxter either the king of weird taste buds or a reigning jester, dinner came to an end. When he glanced at the clock, he found that it was later than he ever would have guessed. It's been a long day. Sitting back in your chair, you stretch your arms up. Your legs were feeling the effects of trapezing, whatever, uphill for miles. A yawn bubbled up when your phone rang. Would be calling you at this time. You pulled out your phone to check if it was anything that mattered or a spam call. Liz's name showed on the screen. Right, of course your sister wouldn't wait any longer for the mandatory check-in. You were late. At least she hadn't jumped straight to the police.
In that case...
You're welcome to answer if you like. I can give you privacy. No, it's my sister. You don't have to go anywhere. You tap the screen to answer the call and put it on a speaker. That way both of you can say hello. Hi.
Hey.
Surprise check-in with Chico. Are you still alive? Did that Victorian-era emo man... Oh my god! Give you any trouble? Liz, it's on speaker. Your jaw dropped open and turned to Baxter in a frantic panic. How would he take Liz's colorful description? She paused. The so-called Victorian-era emo man filled the growing awkward silence. Baxter was already leaning on the table, his elbow propped up on the counter. Now he lazily rested his chin on one of his fists.
Hello.
That's certainly a unique description. I can't say I have ever heard the likes of it before.
So what?
I stand by it. Hello to you, Baxter. I'm making sure that everything is well with my little sister, you understand? I do, completely. Fine, so again, what are you doing? We just had room service for dinner. Sheesh, lucky. I had to make my own dinner, like a peasant. Sorry. Don't apologize. Some static came through the phone like your sister was moving around. You're supposed to brag or something since you're on vacation loving it up. How am I supposed to tease you if you don't give me any material? Sorry. Again with the sorry? Now you are joking with me. Sorry. It's you went back and forth a while longer while Baxter watched with increasing entertainment. Anyways, clearly you're still breathing, so I'll let you go. It'd be discourteous to keep you from your suitor keep you from your suitor any longer. She spoke in a mock formal tone, poking at Baxter. He playfully responded, How gracious of you, Miss Melody. You are indeed a gentle woman.
Bye.
See you tomorrow, sis. Bye, have a good night.
Take care.
I will. Make sure you take care of her. Aww. On that slightly threatening note, Liz hung up. Baxter's lips twitched upwards. Your family's charmingly protective. I realize that more and more every day. They're the best. I'm sorry about Liz's comment. Protective, more like annoying. I'm glad you're willing to put up with it. They're usually not like this. It's just unusual circumstances. That's right. You should forget. I'm glad you're willing to put up with this. They're the best, you know. That makes me happy to hear. His words lingered. There's more happening there than an offhanded statement. I am nearly a stranger. And I cannot deny that I am imposing a great deal on your free hours. It's good to be cautious.
Honestly.
And truly I do like your family, at least as much as I can from the little we've interacted. Speaking of, he lifted his head and his hand fell under his chin. Instead, he furrowed his brow. In general, I would never dare to be this presumptuous, but I cannot deny that I am deeply curious about you as a person. Oh? Are you? Okay, ask away, my love. But anyway, this is where we're gonna end today's episode off. Baxter, he's great. Baxter is great. Anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.